No, but I promise. Give me about 10 more minutes if you can, and we're
I
gonna get out of
will.
here.
I do
Okay,
that
thank
for
you.
you.
I love
The man has spoken to my life, so come on.
I love you, Ashley. All right, listen, we're gonna deal with this last G. That's the grief portion. Y'all know my mother passed away about 3 weeks ago, and that was a hard time for me. And and I'm gonna be honest, Ashley, we haven't had a lot of people pass away in our family. You know, my grandmother, I had one grandmama pass away at 85, a great grandmama. Had another one pass away at 94. Then I had an uncle pass away about 97, somewhere in that range. Dr. Craig Oliver's listening. Hey, man, I'm glad he's on with us tonight. That's if y'all don't know, that's pastor of the Elizabeth Baptist Church, world renowned Elizabeth Baptist Church, and he taught me a lot of what I know about preaching and ministry. So I'm thankful that he is on tonight. But listen, we're gonna deal with the last bit. That's grief. I struggled with grief because I wasn't used to it. I really was not used to it. So I didn't know how to take it. And I told y'all I'm an introvert. So I didn't know how to take it. So, and being a cancer, what we have a tendency of doing is going in our shell, right? And so what I did is I went in that shell and I put up a do not disturb sign. Oh, don't go nowhere. Come back, Chilton, if you're still there. Um, but I struggled with that, man. I really, really, really struggled. And so I sent out, like I sent out text messages and things. Pray for me. Let me get Chilton here. Chilton, hey Chilton, what's going on, my friend, Mr.
Hey,
Blunt?
how are you?
Give me 3 minutes, and I'm setting this up, and then I'm gonna get you, and then I'm gonna bring you in. Okay, so stay
Uh,
right there. But I struggled with grief because there wasn't much death in our families, so I didn't know how I wanted. Yeah, Letitia crying. I blocked the world out. I didn't want to pray for me. I can feel your prayers. That's it. But don't call me. If I want to talk to you, I'll call you. But people that know me called anyway. Because if I'm gonna talk to you, I'm gonna talk to you. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. But so many other people send out these blind texts or these blanket texts like, if you need me, call me. Let me know if you need anything. How do I respond to let me know if you need anything? You know what I'm saying? So especially people that I haven't seen in 7 years, 10 years. Some of them I hadn't seen in 15 years. So it's it made me become conscientious of how I deal with those who are grieving. So what I wanted to do tonight is because the gentleman, my homeboy, and y'all know most angels, every angel in the Bible was a man. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna cause that problem. But this angel right here, by the name of it is Michael. Y'all can go look it up. It's there. But this angel, Chilton Blunt, took care of my family. He is with the Paradise Funeral Home in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and he took care of my family. I don't know if he saw the anxiety on my face because he knew I had to preach my mom's eulogy. I don't know what it was, but when he saw me, it was instant compassion. And the whole time he dealt with us, because I could have brought him on for grace as well. But the whole time he dealt with us, he was so gracious. And I wanted to ask him, Chilton, what is your process? Because I know yours is probably pretty universal. What's your process when it comes to dealing with families?
well, James, it's a little different from the funeral director aspect of it, dealing with grief. One of the things that I like to do when I get the call that a person's loved one has passed, Pine Bluff is a kind of small town because so 9 times out of 10, that person that has passed, I kind of know them already or know their family. Um, there's a different approach for every background, I guess, so to speak. When a person has been sick, dealing with sickness for years, and the older person they've been dealing with, in and out of death, backdoor as you call it, that approach is different versus someone, in your instance, who's gone into the hospital one day and the next day that person is gone. That approach is different. I had to it's easy to be sympathetic to that person versus empathetic. Um, we all have that sympathy, but you have to put yourself in that person's shoes. Um, death has a way. I call death a hurricane. Death comes into our life and just tears our life to pieces. And then when death leaves, we're stuck trying to put the pieces back together again.
Mm,
And so my approach is a little different because I understand that for one, that person is vulnerable. Two, that person may be angry. Um, then that person may be in denial. We see that a lot where loved ones are they're in denial that, hey, I can't believe this has really happened. And a lot of times they hadn't processed the whole idea that death has happened. And so when they finally process it, it's kind of like I'm angry, I'm mad. And so I always go into it with the idea that that could have been my family, and I treat that person as if they're my family. That leads me to one thing I don't do. I don't ask them how the person has died. I think we have got to, we as a race of people, that's the first thing we ask. How did they die?
What
So
happened?
what happened? That's what we ask them. We got to get away from that. We got to get away from that. How are you doing? How do you think I'm doing?
Right.
I've lost my mother. I've lost my father. I've lost my child. I'm not doing good at all. So one of the things I use is that I'm here for you. I don't even go into the idea. I don't go into the idea that if you need me, call me. Because you may need $5,000. I don't have $5,000 to give you. And so you have to get away from that asking how that person died. You have to get away from telling if you need me, call it. It's just, I mean, it's one of those things that, and you can't even say, I know how you feel. Just because you've lost your mother, you can't say, I know how you feel. Because your relationship with your mother may not be my relationship with my mother. It's one thing, James, to be in the shoes of the funeral director, to where I've helped millions of families, and I wouldn't say millions, thousands of families, sit there and help arrange. But it's different when death come knocking at your door. I lost my grandmother in September of 2021, and then in September of 22, I lost my grandfather. Right there back to back. And so there's a difference when you sat and help people sit on one side of the table. Now here you are on this side of the table. And so I've discovered we have to get out of kind of put yourself in those people's shoes, wondering how they feel and what they're going through, and just be empathetic to their feelings. And it's okay to to say, I'm here for you. I understand, but I get out of that. I understand. I've been there. No, because I hadn't been there.
Man, that is some valuable information. Let's retort what he just said. He said, number one, don't ask how the person died. That's so insensitive. Don't ask that. And I'll be honest, I didn't have a lot of people ask that. I did have some people ask was she sick, but those were close people. Yeah.
I had, when my friend passed away, I had people inboxing me asking me, what happened? Or was he sick? Or I just got to know. And it was to the point where I was about to cuss some people out. Actually, I wanted to make a Facebook post about it. Like, don't inbox me ask me about how this happened or why it happened. If you haven't talked to the family members, then you don't need to know. And my friend was real private. So they was asking the wrong person anyway.
Don't mean any harm. It's just that they don't know what to say.
Exactly.
That ain't it.
But you know what? I think it's okay to say nothing.
That's right.
I mean, the best thing that I saw, and I'm honestly, the best thing I felt was prayers. I mean, honestly, if you say you're praying for me and you mean it, even if you say I'm praying for you, then right quick say, God, please bless Kirkland. Now you prayed, your obligation is done, and then then at that point it's God's decision to move at that moment, right? And I had a lot of grace during that film. I mean, you saw me, Chilton. Did I break down at all?
No, you were. I think at the cemetery, I had to kind of make you sit down.
Yeah, you did. You really did. You made me sit down because I'm a preacher now. I'm a preacher. I'm her son, but I have a job to do as a preacher and a minister, and that was number one, to send my mama off right. So that was going to happen first and foremost. I was going to make sure that mama was sent off right, and you being the funeral director you are and being the man you are, bro, you made it easy, man, and I appreciate you. But first of all, you said don't ask how the person died. Secondly, you said don't say if you need me, call me. Now, let me say this. I had a lot of people say, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? If you need something, if you need something. But I had a lot of people who didn't ask me what I needed and started sending cash apps.
Right.
And those people sent those cash apps. And I'm going to be honest, going home, Lady K, I ain't have to pay for nothing. Yeah. My flight was covered. My hotel was covered. I was able to drive a car while I was there. Now, those were my friends. And some of those came out the blue. I mean, I had people walking up to me at the funeral, putting $100 in my hand, right? And I had people, I look up and somebody say, well, are you staying with your family? I'm saying, no, I don't want to stay with my family. They said, where are you going to stay at? I said, I don't know yet. They said, well, I'm going to get you a room. They said, do you mind if I send you some money? I'm like, no, you ain't got to do that. One person got upset with me because I said, you don't have to send me no money. They said, don't deprive me of an opportunity to be a blessing. I'm
Right.
gonna bless you. And that person sent me $200 like that, and that kept happening. So for sometimes, if you say you want to help somebody, figure
Just
out a way that you can be.
That's
I
right.
use the expression when I teach. Sometimes you can't tell help how to be helped.
right.
So if you're gonna help somebody and you know what your strength is or what you're available or what you're able to do, go ahead and do that. Somebody what now another aunt wasn't able to send me no money, but she sure made me some tea cakes. And man,
Woo!
I ate the HE doubles hockey sticks out of them tea cakes too. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
So that's it. So don't say if you need me, call me. Then this was a good one. Man, Doc, and I appreciate you. Don't say I understand how you feel.
right.
You don't know
Mhm.
my relationship with my mom.
Right.
Right.
And I don't and number one, some of y'all thought it was my stepmama because y'all didn't know I even had a separate stepmom and a mom because my stepmom raised me. So I had a different relationship. Some of y'all done killed my stepmom. And she's wide awake. I mean, what she is alive and well right now because you don't know. You don't know. So you can't ask people if you don't understand how to. You want to elaborate on that, Lady K? Can you speak to that?
I can just a little bit. And I'm very blunt. I would say whatever you do, don't lie because people will depend on what you say if they know you well enough. So everything you said, don't say for real, don't say it. And the things that you mean, say them. Hug people, give them positive touches. They don't want everybody touching them, but you know your relationship with the person. Sometimes people, and it may have been my position in my past life, but they may have been hugging someone or standing alone and they can look across the room and see me and they give you that look like I just need a hug, I just need a touch. So kind of be led in all of that, but yeah, make yourself available if you need to be available. If you don't. If you just being nosy, don't do that because you might get your feelings hurt, in this day and time. So
And
just
that's
be
what Valencia
mindful.
Coleman just said. She said,
Valencia, yes.
"Go
Say
ahead,
that
ask,
again.
read it."
I'm sorry. Yeah, Valencia said just being nosy and not really concerned. Don't post RIP the day of a person passing. Family may not know. That's exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
First of
Exactly.
all, my stepfather passed. People were posting that. And I'm just thinking to myself, ain't nobody asked y'all to post nothing. That's number one.
Absolutely.
His wife
Absolutely.
hadn't posted nothing. None of his children had posted anything. He just passed in the hospital. You got somebody gave you a tad bit of information, and you
Right.
feel like you got to be the first person to put it out. Same thing with my friend. I seen somebody come in and say, "Wow, this is my cousin. I didn't know." And I'm thinking to myself, the family hadn't even gave permission, and I say permission to even post it. Like, how dare you even, first of all,
Right.
deprive somebody of even telling the world something that has happened to their loved one? It
Right.
made me
Yeah.
mad. Like, I get real angry. Now, James, I will say I think I was one of the people. I'm one of the people that say, if you need me, call me. And
But
the
we got a different
reason,
relationship.
well, no,
No, we got a different relationship. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the
right.
people. I'm talking about people I ain't talked to in 15, 20 years. Or
And I'm
people I
saying
don't
this is
talk
a
to.
general statement for
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
the man done taught me a little something today. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not a person who wants to boggle you down with phone calls because you might not want to talk. At the
Mhm.
time where you feel like you need to talk, hey, it doesn't matter what time it is, I'm here. So that's kind of when the reason why I make that statement. But then now he done made me feel like don't make that statement no more because I
I
don't
mean,
know what you need.
that's
You may
different.
need to
That's
cry
different
on the
though.
phone.
Like you that's been
I,
in that life. You know,
Uh-huh.
I was up reading something, Miss Ash, and I saw it, and when I saw it, I immediately thought about James, and I screenshot,
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sure
mhm.
I
did.
didn't have to say, hey, listen, but it was just something that since he was on my mind at that time,
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is sleeping, I'm up praying, and it
Mm-hmm.
Right.
just happened to come across my mind while I was reading that post, and I said, I got to give that to him, send it to him, and that's exactly what it says. It's not over when the funeral is done and everyone go back to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
The journey down grief highway begins.
That
Mm-hmm.
blessed me, bro. I sat here and
I've actually
cried. I sat here about 5:30 in the morning because he sent that to me about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
And I and this grief process with my mom has been very sporadic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm
mm-hmm.
cool. and then I have a burst of crying, or
Mhm.
I think about something. I'm like, dang, I ain't gonna never hear from my mama again, or something along those lines, So I go through those moments, and for him to say, for me to read that it's not over when the funeral is done and everyone goes back to their lives, that's when the journey down grief highway begins. That blessed me because it let me
Mhm.
know that it's okay to still grieve,
Yeah.
and it
Mhm.
lets you know
Yep.
that this process that I'm gonna grieve for a while. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that
Mhm.
blessed me, and Chilton and I don't know each other. He told me yesterday I'm old enough to be his daddy because I am, because he's the same age as my little sister. My little sister's 30, 31 years old. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 18 years older than she is. So when I left Pine Bluff, my sister was about 5 years old at that. No, she might have been about 3 or 4 years old at that time. So they're from a different generation. I don't know what Chilton saw about me for us to continue the connection beyond that day, but we've continued to converse. You know what I'm saying? And that means a lot to me because he understood the grief aspect of my stepmom. My mama didn't raise me. My stepmama raised me. But I spent my summers and holidays and anytime I wanted to go with my mom. So we had a relationship and we developed it more as we got older, right? Because my mom had me when she was young. She had me very young. She was 17. So we had a good relationship, but it got better as we got older. And there's still some things I felt like I missed. For him to tell me that that's when the journey down grief highway begins, man, that helped me. And I thought about that for a lot of other people. So I said, you know what? And I didn't even have Chilton set to be on the show tonight. I actually had somebody else I was going to ask, but that person didn't respond. I'm thankful that they didn't because Chilton and I have been communicating, and I felt like he would be the one. I felt
Right.
like he would be the one, and I really appreciate him. It was one more thing that he said, y'all, and we're gonna get off this call. We get off tonight because we've had a good conversation, I think, tonight. But the other thing he said was, don't ask people how they're doing. You already know how they're doing.
Right.
Don't ask. Let me take this off. Okay. That don't ask people how they're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it. The Chilton, you talking to the laity because you're a professional in this area. What would be your response? What would be your advice as what we should? You told us what not to say, but tell us what you think we should say.
Um, Prime example. James, today my best friends lost her husband.
Okay.
Wasn't sick, hadn't been sick or nothing. Just went to bed and didn't wake up this morning.
Lord
And
Jesus.
he's 45, 46. She's young. He wasn't even 40. He may have been 40, 41. But when I called, I didn't call her. I texted her and just to simply say, I'm here for you.
Wow.
Mhm.
Um, and I left it at that with a whole bunch of hug emojis.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
times we don't know, you know, people deal with grief and deal with death in a whole different aspect. Those of
Right.
us that are spiritual, the word says the strong are the bear the infirmities of the weak. And so I stand on that. So I'm here for her. That's all I sent her. And she sent me
Mhm.
back, I love you. And it was
Mhm.
that's all I said. And we were
Yeah.
done with it. A lot of times, like Miss Ash said, is that we want to be on Facebook because we want to be the first ones to post it. Because we want
Yeah.
people to call us and say, such and such died. I had so many calls till I just had to turn the phone off and say, please don't call me no more. Ask me anything about how that young man died.
Mhm.
And so, but people, I can say, Miss Ash, they were respectful. Nobody posted anything until his wife, which is my best friend, posted it maybe about a couple of hours ago. But
Okay.
just a simple text to let that person know I'm here for you. Um, I was the world's worst with, oh, I'm just call me if you need me, call me if you need me. Until that person called me, and I was like, oh, well, let me see,
You couldn't
Right.
do what they needed.
let me see, can I
Right.
do it. So I got out of that. So just a simple text to say I'm here for you and refrain from calling them. A lot of times
Mhm.
that happens. Folk are
Right.
calling their phone. Let me tell you how it works. Everybody bombards your house for that whole week. Friday we're gonna go to visitation with you. Saturday we're going to the funeral with you. Saturday evening we come back to your house. We're gonna play cards. We're gonna sing. Sunday morning everybody gets up and they go home. Sunday evening your house is quiet as mouse.
Wow.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
Mhm.
that's when that person.
Jesus.
That's when you stop by and say, "Hey, I just stopped by to check on you. Let's
Mhm.
eat." You know,
Wow.
just be there to be their listening ear. Be there to be their shoulder to cry on. Be there when they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because they can't sleep. Be that person and say, "Let me just call them and see, hey, why did this happen to me?" I had a young girl that we buried her husband years ago. She called me maybe 6 or 7 months after the funeral and said, "Why am I at 47 years old a widow? How did this happen to me?"
Wow. Mm.
I had no answer, but I simply said, listen, I'm here for you. If you
Jesus
want to
Christ.
cuss, cuss. You want to go get something to
Right.
drink, let's go.
Mhm.
Wow.
Just be
Hey,
there for them.
Brother Chilton, man, I'm gonna tell you something. You have been a blessing. This honestly, this whole show has been a blessing tonight. I like this format that we tried tonight, and I'm gonna try to stick with it. And Chilton, y'all, was on his way back from Memphis,
Mhm.
and I called him, and I asked him would he do it, and he pulled over. He stopped in Little Rock,
At the gas
uh, at
station.
the gas station, and thankfully he's been able to hold his reception and give us these nuggets. Give me 3 more minutes, Chilton, and we out of here.
Yes, no problem.
Uh, Tamia White said, my brother found my father when he died. My brother found. She said, understand that people grieve differently. My brother found my father when he died, and has never wanted counseling. That's been 24 years ago. I'm the one that received counseling. Sometimes I didn't know what to say to my brother, who is 5 years younger than me. But we both dealt with it differently. Joy, who lost her mother last year, she said, I'm over here getting mad thinking about all the things that people said to me and my sister when my mom passed because people were so insensitive to her.
I'll,
So go ahead.
I'll also say when the lady said something about 24 years, and somebody also said it. Grief has no time. My grandmother died when I was 5. That was the most favoriteest person to me ever in the world, and I still have trouble having conversations about my grandmother who died in 1992, and
Jesus.
I was 5. I can't. People still can't sing soon and very soon because it takes me to a whole nother level. So it definitely doesn't have a time frame, and nobody can tell you how to have that moment. You can't expect people to have the same thoughts about it as you, but they can't tell you how to have your grieving moment.
Wow, that's good. Lady K, you got any final closing moments before we get ready to get out of here?
I don't. I just want to say that we remember we do not grieve as he that has no hope. That's it.
Y'all don't see John. I wish y'all could see John Wilson right now, what he's doing. I can still see him in the chat. He's praying for me right now. I don't even have him on right now, but if I would have put him in the stream right now, you would see I see him pointing his hand towards me, and he's in prayer right now, praying for us on the show right now. That's the kind of people I have that God is starting to surround me with. And that
Amen.
I put a post out the other day saying that in this season you'll be able to choose your own circle. I'm choosing my circle, and I
I
want
love
people around me like Chilton Blunt.
Yeah.
And I want
Mm.
people around me like John Wilson. I want people around me like Dylan Winston and Lady K and Chanel and Joy and all. I want people around me that really are concerned about me as an overall person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
About my mental health and my emotional intelligence. And people that I can share something with that ain't gonna be the only one taking something, right? I want
Right.
somebody
Right.
who can pour something back into me because sometimes you're spiritually bankrupt dealing with certain people because you have to exhaust yourself, right?
Mm.
And I'm done with that. I'm
Mm.
done. As John uses the term, he said, I'm done with these Similac sipping saints. I'm
Ha
done,
ha
man.
ha! Love
I'm
it.
done. If you ain't on
Love it,
meat, don't
John.
holler at me. I'll meet you in the next lifetime. And I'm done. I promise you.
Yeah.
Chilton Blunt, we friends, man. We friends. And I told
Yes.
you I told you when I come to town and you have an open service, you make sure you let me you make sure you let me do it. You know what my
I'm
new song is. You know what my new song. She said what'd you say your funeral song was? Soon and very soon.
soon and very soon.
My new one is I moved from my old house and I
Ah.
Oh,
moved. Boy, they sung that at my
Yeah.
mama's funeral. And when I say they
Okay.
sung that song coming in there, Jack, we ain't had time to be sad, man. That choir
mhm.
Yeah.
sung
I've
so
never
well.
never heard
Did
it.
you see that? That video has got 9,000 views, man.
Yeah.
People love you told me people love my mama because you had been around a lot more than I had in the latter
Yeah.
years. And man, they love my mama, man. I'm talking about, and it wasn't but 4,400, huh? We say children?
She was a really sweet, good lady.
Man. I I'm giving away a free plug tonight. Give Paradise a free plug tonight, and then I'm gonna shut it down. Give Paradise a free plug. Go ahead.
Oh, oh, well, you know what to say. Well, other than we're Paradise Pure Home, Pine Bluff, we serve 3 locations. Pine Bluff, Marcellus, Stuttgart. See us. Listen, I tell any families, insurance is important. So many people are dying young, old, and they're not prepared. Listen, but less than $25 a month, you can secure your future for your final expense, as we call it. So even if it's not paradise, get you some life insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sell life insurance as well. So if y'all need some life insurance, I do that as well. But if you need
And
a pre-need program, definitely go to a funeral home, go to Paradise, go somewhere and allow them to bless you. And it does alleviate. My mom was covered, thank God. And we didn't have any issue. You didn't have no issues, right? I need to raise the offering tonight. Okay, good. Make sure my mama's
and
straight.
I want to say that I help people with their end of life homegoing prepared or pre-planning packets. So
Okay.
all of this working together. Let's make sure that we are covered. I like that, Jennifer.
All right, that sounds good. Chilton, man, I appreciate you, man. We get ready to go. Y'all, if y'all see right there, you see the Cash App, you see the Zelle, you see the PayPal. If you want to be a blessing to this platform, I have other things that I plan on doing. I want to bless some people through this show. I want to, help some single mothers with some groceries, and I want to help some pay some bills and whatnot. But I can't do that alone. I need your help to do that. So as we grow together, we'll start doing that. John Wilson, first time he saw us, he was asking me how he could be a sponsor on this show. He always has asked, and then people, and I appreciate people like him. So Ashley, I thank you for sacrificing for us. You have a safe trip tomorrow. I know your daughter, you got to get your daughter straight. Ashley really does make a sacrifice every week because she has to drive an hour and a half home from work and then make it on this show and all that stuff. And she does it. And I appreciate her for that. So y'all know how I end my show every night. I say that the world is changing.